Stand Above the Influence is a youth-led coalition that empowers youth to be agents of change by strengthening their voices and educating others to build a healthier community. This is the mission statement of Stand Above the Influence, a youth-led coalition making change in Pasco County. Meet our friends from Stand Above the Influence next on Bayside. Good morning and welcome to Bayside. I am your host, Shelly Sanders. Like I said, we're talking all about Stand Above the Influence. And here to tell us all about it is a new friend of the show, Miss Michaela D'Amato. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shelly. It's nice to have me here.
Yes, for sure. We love here on Bayside, we love to know about new coalitions, new groups, new everything going on in our Bay Area. And of course, if it has to do with positive changes and influences, then we love it even more.
Of course.
And understand that's what you guys are all about. So I know it kind of alluded to some of the things, a major mission statement right there in the open of the show, but talk to me in real terms, you know, like for our viewers, like what is that exactly? What does that mean? What is it that you do? I mean, yes, you empower youth and you strengthen the voices, but what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so what our main mission is to we give them a platform to do projects that they're passionate about. Our main things that we focus on is substance use and mental health in our community. As we know, those are big things that are going on in Pasco County right now. So we really just want to empower the youth to have a place to talk about those things and lead the projects in making those positive changes in their schools and their communities.
Fantastic. Now, I understand you are a STAND advisor.
That's
what
correct.
does that mean? What is an advisor?
So our coalition is all youth-led. So we have 4 students in leadership right now. We have Maddie as our president, Liam as our vice president, Jalen as our secretary, and Christelina as our social media liaison. So it's all youth-led. They do all the work. They kind of lead the projects, figure out what initiatives they want to work on, and us as STAND advisors just kind of sit back and lead it. So we kind of facilitate, provide resources, lead them in the right direction, give them a place to eat, give them food,
Right.
a place to meet and food, and then just lead them in the right direction. But it's really all about the youth and what they want to focus on.
Michaela, how old are you?
I'm 23, actually.
23, okay. And so when you say youth-led organization or youth-led coalition, first of all, what is a coalition?
So a coalition is a group of people that was formed to focus on a specific issue or a circumstance, like something a specific issue that we're working on changing.
So when we're talking youth-led and you're talking about empowering youth, what ages are we looking at here?
So we're looking at middle and high school students.
Okay.
We are based out of Pasco County, but that does not mean that only Pasco County students can join. As long as the students are willing to travel and come to the meeting, or if they want to set up their own meeting, we're always open and welcome to having more meetings out in the community. So if anyone's ever willing to host a meeting or want to, please always reach out to us.
Hint, hint. I think Michaela is dropping hints to you people
little
out
bit.
there, for real. But you know what? I love that. I love that that's actually sort of setting a bar for yourselves you're doing positive things, you're growing, obviously, you're doing well at it.
Yeah.
So perhaps you could become like the flagship coalition for future, right?
Well, that's what we're working on. We're hoping.
Right? So I love that. Aspirations.
Yeah.
So with that, so you started, when did this start? How did it come about and why?
Well, SAND has been a coalition for a very, very long time. I'm not sure exactly the year that we started. I know at the very least, for 8 years or so. I myself have been a SAND advisor for about a year. And in the year, we've done so much already, even in the part that I've been a part of, and I've loved every minute of it.
I can tell, right? You literally are infectious in how happy and how joyful it makes you. It really
thank
is,
you.
for sure.
I appreciate that.
I mean, and that's convincing in and of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have pride and joy in what you do. So let's talk about some of those things. Like, how do you go about doing that, right? You said some of your top priorities were really focusing in on substance use and mental health issues, which are two very big priorities, not just in Pasco County, but across, really we could say globally,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
certainly in the state of Florida,
Yeah.
with Pasco being the home and the originating place of where you guys stand.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. How do you go about doing that, and how are you bringing this into middle school and high schoolers?
Yeah. So our youth come from Pasco County schools, but like I said, anyone can join from anywhere. Throughout the past year, just to kind of name a few things that we've been up to, we always have a yearly summit, or leadership summit is what we call it, where we teach leadership skills, and we actually partnered with SAD at our last one in July. And the students were given, basically given different topics to discuss and work on a project and how they would go about like doing something about that issue in their school community, wherever they're located at. We had about 50 youth for that event alone.
Oh, nice.
And then other recent things that we've been doing is we actually got to go up to Tallahassee over the beginning of the month on the February 7th and 8th for Advocacy Day is what they call it. So Substance Use Advocacy Day. We got to take 7 students up there, and they got to speak to 7 different legislators, most of them actually from our area. And they got to speak with them about different substance use and what's going on and their perspective and those kinds of things. So it was really impactful. I was so proud of the students, how they were talking and just giving all those examples and everything. And then we also got an opportunity, I think it was 5 or 6 students got to speak with Congressman Bilirakis last month or the month before.
Oh, wow.
He actually asked for their input on cyberbullying. Because he's working on some legislator to combat that. So that's just a few of the things that we've been up to recently.
Those are just a few, minor things like that. Hello, that's bragging rights. I mean, my goodness.
Thank you.
As the parent of kids, I can only imagine how proud their parents must be for all of that, and yours included. So what is the hope? So you go and you inform the legislature, and you're telling them where you all stand, and the hope is what the outcome. What outcome are you looking for? Are you hoping that means they'll bring new programs in, new funding in to kind of help, offset some of these issues? Or
Yeah. So our main thing is raising awareness. We can't lobby due to us being a coalition and being a 501c3, but our main goal is to raise awareness and make sure our legislators are aware of what's really going on in our county. What are we seeing? What are the students seeing in their schools from their perspective? Because at the end of the day, they're the main group that's being affected by these things. So their voices should be a seat at the table. They should be heard about what's going on and give the adults some perspective of what they're seeing. So that's our main goal, is just raise awareness, and then hopefully that'll cause some change as far as that aspect. But of course, we're always doing our regular projects here in our county, and like we just did a hygiene drive for our local family shelter. So that was just another, not a little thing, but a different thing that we did.
Sure.
So we're focusing on all these different things. It just really depends on what the students are passionate about and what they want to work on.
Well, I can't wait to dive into that. And we are going to do that, Miss Michaela. So you are looking right now at home. You are looking at their website. It's empoweredcommunities.org/stand. Yeah, just in the few minutes of hearing Michaela talk and what they're doing, it's youth-led. It's this youth-led coalition. Big things that these guys are doing. I mean, you're looking at your future leaders of America right here, and I've got one on my show. Lucky me. I tell you, you guys should go check out their website, empoweredcommunities.org/stand, while we go to break, but we're coming back to continue our conversation, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelly Sanders. Take note of this name, ladies and gentlemen, because Michaela D'Amato, she's making big things happen in Pasco County, really setting the bar for our youngsters. Youth-led coalition, that's what we're talking about. Which one? Stand Above the Influence. If you're in Pasco County, perhaps you've heard of it. If you're not in Pasco County, this may be the first time you're hearing about it. Hey, and it might even be the first time if you're in Pasco County, being a parent, you're like, wait, what is this happening? This is fantastic. When we left, we were talking about some of the big things that you guys were doing, and you're making big waves. I mean, to be able to have a leadership summit, to be in Tallahassee, to be talking with our politicians and legislature. I mean, these are the things that they need to hear because they need real people on the ground, and those, not just those that are going, yeah, well, no, I've heard that da-da-da-da-da, or I assume, but those that, the youth that are actually living in it and see it with their own eyes, and they're sitting there with them. So
For sure.
what does that look like? What schools are you in? How do students know about you?
So we're very community based. So we actually meet at the Newport Richie Rec Center the first Thursday of every month at 5:30. And students come from all over the county. So we're looking to have another meeting out on the east side of Pasco. It's something that's in the works right now. And like I said, anybody can host a meeting. So anybody that has a group of students or just thinks like, you know what, we have a really good population here. I might be able to drum up some business for them and get a meeting started. We're always looking for more places to have meetings. But right now we meet just at the Newport Richie Rec Center. We have about 15 students that come or so, and they get pizza and volunteer hours every time they're there. Just chat and figure out what they want to work on, and then once we have a project going, then they keep working on it every time we're there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So say, for example, maybe you have somebody watching the show right now and they're in a different part of Pasco, haven't really heard of you, or
Yeah.
perhaps even they're in Hillsborough and they're like, you know what, wow, this is really cool. We could really use this here. So anyone can be involved. So, hey, gather a group up and come meet for a meeting, and I'm sure that information's on your website, right?
Oh, for sure. Everything's on there. We actually just finished our PSAs as well. We just did, it took, I think, about 6 months or so, and it was all of the students in there are either STAN students or friends of STAN students, which was amazing. So all of our PSAs are on there that we've been trying to get out to the world as well. So even just sending out the PSAs on YouTube to people and getting inviting students to come. I mean, at the end of the day, it's great volunteer hours. It's a resume builder. It's a place for them to learn leadership skills and really learn about why their voice matters, and being able to have a safe place to make some friends and be in good community. So
Since you brought that up, let's talk about that. Why does their voice matter for those individuals that think, I don't know, I'm just a kid?
well, like I was saying earlier, so in Pasco County, there's actually, according to the most recent 2022 Florida Substance Abuse Survey, there actually in Pasco County was a 40% increase in vaping of marijuana and nicotine among our middle school students. And
Middle school. Parents, take note of that.
yeah. And on top of that, Pasco in itself continues to be above the state average of substance use among our students. So that in combination with the opioid epidemic that we're dealing with right now, these students are seeing it all the time. They're seeing it in their schools, they're seeing it in their community, they're seeing it among their family, their friends. So their voices really make a difference in figuring out the root of what's going on so we can change that and prevent students from starting out in the first place. Because that's our main goal, is preventing students from starting. Because
Absolutely.
as studies have shown as well, the earlier a student starts using substances, the more likely they'd already become addicted in the future as an adult. So we really want to empower the youth that aren't using, give them healthy coping skills, and let them be an advocate in their schools so they can prevent other youth from using as well.
For sure. And with statistics like that, 40% increase of middle schoolers, that's pretty frightening. So that, if statistics hold true to that, then you're looking at 40% more adults in the future becoming addicted
Yeah.
to something, right?
Yeah.
To some form of substance, be it marijuana, be it opioids or alcohol, which, as we know, all of these things, addiction it disrupts every aspect of life.
Yeah.
So I commend you for that. What is the response that you've been getting?
Very well. So a lot of our students have wonderful stories and things that they've been through and things that they've just observed. At the end of the day, we always want to remember that we're breaking the stigma that not all youth use. And in fact, most students do not use substances and most students are not experiencing these things, but we want to give them the tools to ensure that they don't. So we really just want to focus on that prevention aspect and break that stigma that like just because lots of people are saying that all youth use doesn't mean that you have to be one of them. It doesn't mean that you have to fall into that road.
Right.
So.
Don't fall into the whole, well, they think I'm doing it anyway, might as well.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I gotcha. Did you hear that, adults out there, parents out there? Not all. As a matter of fact, most don't. So empoweredcommunities.org/stand. I highly encourage you to check out this website because these guys are doing amazing things. They could even be very well influencing your child, and wouldn't that be nice? So check it out. You never know. There's great talking points even if you're the parent of teens. Certainly if you're the parent of middle schoolers, with a 40% increase, that's still a shocking statistic there. Either way, it is empoweredcommunities.org/stand. We're talking all about stand above the influence, and we'll be back to talk more about it after this. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. Been talking with Miss Michaela D'Amato all about Stand Above the Influence. It's a youth-led coalition here in Pasco County, and just because it's in Pasco County doesn't mean that any area that if you can hear us, if you're watching us today, you can certainly be involved as well. As a matter of fact, you could probably even start a new charter in the county that you're in, right? Hint, hint, right, Michaela? So, by the way, we need to tell you, they definitely have a presence on social media. So if that is your avenue and you want to check them out in that fashion and kind of get a feel for what they're about, that'd be a great place to start. Stand Up Pasco is their IG and TikTok handle, and Stand in Pasco County is their Facebook handle. Either way, I'm sure if you put Stand Pasco, it'll come up for sure. Big things you guys are doing. We're going to have to get you back on for sure. What are your plans for the future? What are the youth thinking of coming up with next? Where do you want to be? Where are you heading?
So every year we actually have a stand planning meeting is what we call it, when we get all the stand youth together. Usually we do something fun with it. So this year we did bowling with them. So we had a little presentation and we had a discussion and then we did some bowling with them. But we did a kind of like a work project of figuring out like laying out spaghetti all over the wall, what they wanted to work on, and then we narrowed it down and said, okay, what can we actually do something with? What do we have the funds, the resources, the people, the students to be able to do something with? And what they landed on, which not surprisingly for two of them, was our mental health and substance use for the two. For the third one they wanted to focus on was inclusion. So that's something that we're going to be working on this year as well.
Exciting. Very apropos too. Very relevant in today's world,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, lots of big things going on. I got to think though, with all these incredible things and all these opportunities and the meetings and everything else, it doesn't happen for free. So now comes the money part. How are you funding these things, and then what can our community do to help? I mean, I imagine you would never say no to money or help, right?
Yeah, so we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so all of our funds comes from grants and then of course generous donations from our community and our partners.
Hint, hint.
So we'll always take even supplies. Like if you're a small, like a family even, just an individual, and you're like, I really can't provide any funds, but I really want to do something to help out. Like you can be a volunteer with ASAP, you can provide supplies, you can provide like even
What kind of supplies you need?
Anything that'll help us with our youth. So food donations, like snacks even we'll take for our meetings. We'll do like
How
craft
about
supplies,
a venue?
like
What
yeah,
if somebody
venue,
has a
venue
restaurant
for
here
sure,
in the area?
for sure.
All right, that's a great big hint to you out there. If you're listening and you want to help out and you're trying to think, how can I do this? And man, I'd really like to help the youth, our future leaders. Hello, this is one fabulous way to do that. empoweredcommunities.org/stand. That is the website that you're looking at there. Those individuals in the photo there, they're your future leaders for sure, without a doubt. So if you'd like to get involved, help out in any way, shape, or form, by all means, check it out. We're going to break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back. As always, I want to thank you for joining us this week on Bayside. And of course, Michaela, it's been a pleasure meeting you. And I hope that you guys come back and keep informing us and keep us up to speed as to what you guys are doing.
We'd love to.
I tell you every single week to get out and get involved in your community. I can't think of a more empowering way to do that than to help these youth. Because after all, they are our future leaders. They're the future teachers, politicians, doctors, etc., people in your community. And what a great way to do that. You can do that any way you see fit. If you've got the funds, they'll take it. The talent, the time, they'll take it. If anything, you can also share their PSAs. You'll find those on their YouTube channel and just share them on your socials.